The rumors surrounding a foldable iPhone are really getting intense. We might be seeing one as early as spring of next year. And I personally am very intrigued. And before I share why I'm intrigued, I just want to say if there's a conversation on your mind that you want to have on this channel, I've started a separate playlist called Tech Talks. So you can either email me right here or drop it in the comments, and I will pick one of your topics as a conversation to have in a future video that will be in this playlist. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Now, I'm also looking forward to hearing your thoughts on what would it take for you to buy a foldable? Do you not care? Do you care? Whatever your thoughts are, share them down below. Now, the reason I personally am intrigued by this foldable iPhone is simply because of two devices. I did a video on my channel called The Mighty Minis, and that was about two devices, one the iPad mini and two the iPhone 13 mini. And right now, my current device combination is the iPhone 16e and then the iPad Pro 11-inch. But like I really enjoyed this combination, and by far it was the best combination of tech products that I've ever had. Simply because like this phone is so comfortable to use, one-handed operation. At the same time, there's plenty of performance here. The cameras are great. I could easily play a game on the move and enjoy it, easily watch a video on the move and enjoy it. Only compromise I was really making was for battery life. And then over here, it was like this was the tablet that could literally fit into a sling bag. Very easy to carry, very compact, very comfortable to hold in the hand. And these two just like gave me a really good experience. Like this for the phone was perfect, and this for the tablet. And that's when I was kind of like, what if Apple could kind of combine these two devices to where you have a foldable device that is, when folded, it has a comfortable experience, just like the 13 mini. Obviously, you would have it a little bit bigger, but then when unfolded, it just becomes a very comfortable tablet experience. And to be honest, I think that would be really great. Like you combine two devices into one, but that's the tricky thing with foldables, right? There's a lot of pain points. For example, number one pain point and big factor for me is going to be like, what are they going to price this at? So let's say they price this at $2,000. What do you think? Do you actually buy this? Like, is it all of a sudden not going to be attractive? Because obviously, like, you have to pay a little bit more because there's a bunch of technicalities and engineering feats that go into putting two devices like this into one. Just the fact that you have a folding screen, like, that's a huge challenge. I mean, Samsung's been doing it for years now, right? And many others along with Samsung. And that's why like price is a huge factor. So let's say $2,000. But now like the iPhone 13 mini doesn't exist, right? But you take the cheapest iPhone, which currently is the iPhone 16e, which is $599. And let's say you take the smallest iPad, not the cheapest iPad, because the cheapest iPad is a lot bigger than the iPad mini. So let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and let's say $500 for the iPad mini 7. You're looking at $1,100 and now you have two devices. That's half the price of the cost of putting them together into one. So then I think it really boils down to like, okay, how much do you need this convenience? Because that's what you pay, right? You pay a price for convenience. For example, there's a lot of people that really love the display of the iPad Pro. And honestly speaking, they're probably not taking advantage of all the M4 power and all the other things that come with the iPad Pro, but they want the best display. They want ProMotion. And so they want to pay that $999. If you can afford it, like obviously there are compromises that you're going to make to get a certain device. And that's really going to be something important to me. Like, what do they price this at? I think if done right, personally, I would love to have two in one. I really would, because if I could combine these two wonderful devices and just have one device that can do both, then I don't need to have an iPad separately or an iPhone separately, even though those two combined make for a cheaper combination. But if I can just have them in one, like there's a convenience factor, right? That imagine you just simply open this up and now you've got this large screen on the inside and you can do whatever you're doing. Like, for example, there's a document you need to sign or you want to watch a video. Now, speaking of video, the next thing that's really going to be crucial is how do they handle the aspect ratio? Because that's another thing you see on foldables is that when people go to watch video, it's like the aspect ratio with the black bars and everything, right? Certain places it looks fine, other places you're like, "Ugh." And then the other thing is that notch of the camera. So is Apple going to actually put the camera under the display or is it going to be a notch? And I'm sure there's a bunch of rumors surrounding all of this, but we don't know, right? So for speculation's sake, a punch out camera, that that would be hard for me to ignore. And the reason for that is simply because like I call me weird or whatever, but I prefer the notch because the notch is just easy for me to ignore like when it's on the side, but the cutout, like all the pro iPhones, I think from the iPhone 14 Pro onwards have the dynamic island thing, and that is just so tricky for me for like my mind, like I cannot let go of that. Like I cannot unsee that notch. So I don't ever like zoom to fill on a YouTube video simply because I'm like I don't want to see the notch there. And so that's going to be one thing, like how are they going to work that out on the inner screen? Because now that's a pain point for myself particularly. But I think I could get around that pain point as long as the aspect ratio is good enough to where you don't have insane black bars at the top and the bottom because that just sucks. Like when I'm watching a video, like that's one of the experiences that I can't get around. It's really hard for me to see all this like wasted space and I'm like that's not fun. Now the last important thing for me personally is going to be whether or not this thing has a crease and how visible it is. Because that too, like I currently have a Galaxy Z Fold 7 on the way. I actually ordered it and I want to see in person just how the crease is. I've been watching a ton of videos on it, but I want to experience it for myself because until I don't go hands on with something, I really can't give any kind of judgment. And so I'm really curious to see how they did that crease, but I'm also curious to see because like Samsung is going to be making the displays on these foldable iPhones. There's a company called Samsung Display and they are going to be doing it. And so it's just a sub company of Samsung. Now the next foldable from Samsung is actually rumored to not have a crease. And so now I'm thinking that is that going to be the same display that's coming in the iPhone foldable? Or is that going to be something that's going to come in the next foldable of Apple's, right? So that is going to be a huge thing too. Like if I can get away with not seeing the crease most of the time and if I can easily ignore it, then okay, I'll buy it. Not a problem. But again, it's got to come full circle, right? The price, the cutout of the display, the crease of the display, the aspect ratio. Like these are like the most important type of things for me. Everything else I can kind of work around. So I'm really curious to see what this foldable is going to be. And I think that, Apple has an opportunity to actually make this really good simply because they've made people wait forever, right? Foldables have been around for a long time. And Apple finally getting into the game, it's like, welcome to the playground. But how they are going to enter this and how they are going to execute this is really going to play a huge part in whether or not the first foldable is successful. It might be perfect, or it might just be something that you're like, yeah, I'm going to wait for generation two. Because a lot of times with Apple's first generation product, once you get to the second generation, that's when you're like, you know what? They've worked out the kinks of the first one, so I'm going to finally dive in with this one. So, like always, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. If you have enjoyed this video, just give me a thumbs up. That way, more people can find this video. And most importantly, take care of yourself. And I will see you, like always, in the next video.